New Zealand Generation Balance, or NZGB, is a web-based system operator maintained tool that is used to identify whether there will be enough generation capacity to meet projected load over the next 200 days. To do this, the NZGB tool calculates the difference between generation capacity and projected load. This calculation also takes into account potential losses of generation units. This is called the generation balance. Generation balances can be positive or negative values. A negative value is defined as a shortfall. NZGB can be found on the Operations Customer Portal, or OCP. NZGB informs decision-making relating to timing and concurrency of transmission outages and generation outages. NZGB is used by industry participants. This includes the system operator, the grid owner, generators, energy traders, and other interested parties. NZGB uses outage data from POCP and historical load data to identify days where the risk of generation shortfalls is high. Because the majority of the load is in the North Island and there's a surplus of generation in the South Island, there's a higher risk of potential shortfalls in the North Island than in the South Island. Therefore, the generation balances that NZGB produces focus on the North Island. Generation and load are connected through transmission circuits. Outages can occur on the generator or transmission circuits due to maintenance work or unplanned trippings. This outage data is used by NZGB. Generation outages effectively remove that capacity from the generation balance. Transmission outages affect the generation balance in two ways. They can either cause a generator to be disconnected from the grid, removing that generator capacity from the generation balance, or it can limit a generator's output due to asset capability, and therefore reducing the generation balance. NZGB uses two different models to calculate the generation balances. The main differences between the two are the historical load data used and the timeframes. The short-term model uses peak load data from the last 3 weeks and projects it over the next 3 weeks. The long-term model for all 200 days uses peak load data from the same time period last year, and then adds a load growth factor of 2%. These two models use the outage data and historical load data to calculate the generation balances. NZGB produces two generation balance figures for each of the models, the N-1 balance and the N-1-G balance. The N-1 balance is the system's capacity to cover, over the peak, the loss of the largest risk setter. This can be a large generator or an HVDC pole. Likewise, the N-1-G balance is the system's capacity to cover, over the peak, the loss of the largest risk setter if the next largest risk setter were also to become unavailable. These two balances are used by industry participants like generators and the grid owner to schedule outages away from potentially higher risk periods due to low margins or shortfalls. This enables the industry to select optimum outage periods which least impact on the North Island generation balance.